let's start out with the question, what is an information system? That's kind of like, well, why are we here? What does it mean? Let me throw it to you guys. What is an information system? When you guys think, you're taking this class, Management of Information Systems, or actually it's just called Management Information Systems. So you go home at night and your roommate or your parents or whoever kind of say, well, what does that mean? What are you guys learning about? So I want you to have an answer to that. All right? The way I like to teach it is this way. An information system, throw the term management out for now. Just an information system is made up of 5 components. And we're going to cover all 5 of these in this class in different ways. So by the time that the interterm is over, not only will you know the 5 components, but you should be able to tell me things about these 5 components. Okay? Good question on a final, by the way. The 5 components. The first one is hardware. All right, so let's just take a quick breath. And what do you guys think of when I say hardware when it relates to information systems? What am I talking about? The actual computers, right? The physical monitors, keyboards, the CPUs, right? The actual boxes, computing devices. It could also mean in today's world, mobile phones, right? Maybe you could even stretch it to include iPods, things like that. Anything with a chip in it, right? Cars, some fancy refrigerators. Okay, so one is hardware. Second is software. Okay, and you kind of notice those are 2 things we're going to be covering today, hardware and software. So an information system is made up of hardware, software. What is software? It's easy to give examples, so we'll start with that. Give me an example of software. Excel. Windows 7. Photoshop. Software, right? What is software then? What are those things? They're programs, but I don't let people get away with that as an answer, okay? Because programs and software, come on, you're talking about the same thing. They are programs, and they're created via programming. But before we go into that, what do we mean by the term software? No, I want to know, what is it? If somebody came to you and said, what is this? Like they have a package of Microsoft Word, or they had the disk. What does this do? A good answer. Manipulates hardware to bring about an end result. My answer in simpler terms is it tells the hardware what to do. Okay? Software tells the hardware what to do. Now we can break down software, and we'll do that later today, into categories like operating systems and applications and utilities. There's different categories of software. But for now, you're looking at these 5 components. So hardware, physical devices, software, tells the computer or the hardware what to do. The next one is data. And data, it's different ways to define it, but I would say data is the pieces of information that are manipulated by the software. That's one way to look at it, at least. You guys, when we think of data, we think of databases, right? If you think about the data that Biola has on you. What is data? Well, it's the information about you that Biola would have. It has your name, it has your social security number, your student ID, it has your classes you've taken, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But data can also be things like, in iTunes, what's the data that's being manipulated? Yeah, the media files, MP3s, the movies, the TV shows, whatever you're playing through it. So the software would be iTunes, but the data would be the actual music or the information about the music, right? Like the title and so on. That's all data. So hardware, software, data. And a lot of people, they get to that point and they're kind of like, all right, we've pretty much covered it. But I say there's 2 more. Okay, so information systems is more than just the computer. We've talked about everything related to the computer. And by the way, I throw networking into kind of the hardware and software side. You could add networking to that. But there's really 2 more components. The first one is people. Information systems goes beyond the computing devices, and it's the people that are involved. It's the users, which is you guys. It's the programmers, it's the analysts, it's the IT department. It's all the people involved. They're all part of making it happen. So in this class, we're going to talk to someone from the IT department. Anthony Valentino manages the help desk and several other areas. He's going to come and lead class one day. And he's going to introduce us to kind of who works in IT and what they do, and then he's going to give us a tour of the IT department at Biola. The last and fifth thing is process. What is process? Or what is a process? Let's make that easy. What is a process? And you can't say a procedure. See, I've gone through this enough. I know the easy answers. Yeah. Okay, good. An order of steps. It's how you do something. A process is the set of steps that you undertake to accomplish a goal. So, for instance, let's see. How about getting to school in the morning? You have a set of steps you might take. You have to get up, I don't know, brush your teeth, eat breakfast. You might walk to your class, or you might get in a car and start it. You don't usually write that down, okay? But in businesses, processes are a big deal. Business processes are a huge deal. We're actually going to spend a whole day talking about business processes and how they're managed, how they're redesigned, and their importance to business. And businesses will spend millions of dollars documenting what they do, drawing flow charts, writing up procedures, and then figuring out how to make it better. Because if you can improve a process just by a tiny bit, you might save yourself millions of dollars if you're a big enough company. So that's really what I want you to think about. When someone says information systems, what is it? Well, it's hardware, software, data, that's the computers, and people and process. And for those who want to be successful in information systems as a career, you have to be able to master all five. A lot of people think, those people who work in IT, they're good with computers. That's it. Well, yeah, you can do that. You can be good with computers, and usually that means you're going to end up being a programmer, or you're going to end up, being an administrator. But the ones that are truly successful, the ones that will go far, are the ones that also can master business processes and people skills. And I always encourage people, if you're a business major and you're looking for, a really good job path, or really good careers, to consider information systems. If you look at the classes that you have to take, some of you already chose an emphasis, I know, but if you haven't, you look at the classes you have to take, there's some that require you to be good at computers, like building a computer. The class called IT Hardware and Software, you build a computer. And let me tell you, everybody in there has a blast. It's a fun class. But you also have to do classes like systems analysis, where you have to interview people to figure out how they do things so you can build a computer system to do it better. Or project management, where you have to figure out how to get a team of people to get something accomplished that maybe has something to do with technology, but it's just about managing people, expectations, writing status reports, creating project plans. All of that is the successful IT person. So those are the 5 components of an information system. I would suggest you have that written down. We'll probably review it almost every day in class, at least the first few days. And be thinking when we get to the final, on the last day of class, and we're reviewing for the final, it's going to come up again. And I'm going to want you to be able to tell me, what are those 5 things? And let's talk a little more about each one. Okay. Let's get into our first topic, which is computer hardware, or information systems hardware. I have a video. It's a pretty fun video called Triumph of the Nerds. This is a PBS documentary style video, but it's not super boring. So, you hear PBS and documentary, it's like, oh, okay, It's about an hour long. It features that world-class rock star Steve Jobs from about 15 years ago, so he looks different. It also has that kind of mega dweeb Bill Gates. Actually, I like them both, but this video, the one thing I'll tell you about it, is older now. This video is I want to say 96, 95, something like that. So way back in the day, nowadays. It runs about an hour. What I want to do is, if you look in Blackboard under Course Media, under Documents, it has something that says Nerds Video Questions. I got 6 questions for this video. And we're actually going to be watching a second one of these in a couple days, and I have 6 questions for that. Let me read these questions off, and one of these will be on your review quiz. Generally, the review quiz is for the things you read for the next class, but since there wasn't one for today, I'm pulling a couple things we're doing today and putting them on the quiz. So So the questions. What was the name of the first personal computer? You're going to find that out. When was it introduced? I just want the year. Some people actually can give me like the month too, but just the year. What was the technological innovation that made it possible? What's meant by the term digital? And I actually have that question in there. I'm not sure they actually answer it. They only answer it through like kind of roundabout ways. So if you can figure that out, great. 5, what does it mean, the term killer application mean? And then 6, what was the killer application for the PC? At one point in the video, they'll define killer application, and then they'll say for the PC, the killer application was a particular software program. So these are the questions. We'll review them after the video's over, but be watching for these. And with that, I think we're ready